Prior to self-mutilating, you should consider your family. I had no prior information on the patient I was assigned at the last minute, but he had recently attempted self-mutilation. My first advice to him was to consider his family. I told him how upset his mother would be if he died and what she would think if he wasn't around. A mother who gave birth to him in particular would be very traumatized. I informed him that all moms treasure their children and that it would be heartbreaking to put a mother through all of that. I also said that his mother would miss him. Then I spoke about what his father might think if he had self-mutilated. Given that dads adore their children, his father would be inconsolable. I informed him that his father would cry over his self-mutilation and that he would not be able to see the continuation of his lineage. There would be no grandchildren, and the father would be so alone in his world that he would shudder if he had committed self-mutilation. It would be such a loss for both parents since all that effort and time would have been wasted. I repeatedly reminded my patient to consider the feelings of his friends and even his co-workers. I continued on a little bit after that, telling him to consider his siblings and imagine how they would feel if he had self-mutilated. It would be heartbreaking for them to grow up together and then have everything simply slip away. I raised my voice a little and asked him if he thought his siblings would feel happy that he had mutilated himself. I helped my patient understand how many people would be impacted if he committed self-mutilation. I kept telling him to stop and consider before he went. I then instructed him to consider the impact self-mutilation would have on his grandparents, emphasizing that it would undoubtedly break their hearts if he did it. My patient had a big family. So many people would be impacted by his self-mutilation, including his uncles and cousins. After giving my last-minute patient a lecture about the harm his self-mutilation will do to a great number of people, I opened the patient's file and was astounded by what I saw. His whole family, his parents, brothers, grandparents, and all of his cousins had him imprisoned, tormented, and was getting him ready to be sacrificed to Satan. In an attempt to avoid being given over to Satan, he attempted self-mutilation. His neighbors reported unusual sounds emanating from his residence to the police. Then, I told him to really forget what I had said and stop worrying about his family. He took hold of one of my pens and stabbed himself in the neck, but it was too late.